Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Tiffany Thomas, and this is our April Mental Wellness Social. We will be talking about self-care and family stress, and we are so excited to have our speaker here today from the Parents Place of Maryland. We have Marlo Lemon, who's the Director of Training from the Parents Place. You can visit their website um, to learn more about their organization, and we'll share that link with you in just a few minutes. They're an amazing organization that does great work, and we'll learn more about that when Marlo shares in just a few minutes. But we're really excited to have her here today. Just want to share a little bit about the campaign and some updates that we have if you're new with us today. Like I said, I'm Tiffany Thomas. I'm the Program Manager of Education and Outreach with the Mental Health Association in Maryland. And our other coordinator, Haley Rizkala, is the co-coordinator also, and she is with Maryland Coalition of Families. Our two organizations partner together to put together the Children's Campaign, which has been happening in the state of Maryland for over 25 years. You can learn more about our campaign at www.childrensmentalhealthmatters.org, and we'll drop that link in the chat for you so that you can go learn more about the campaign. Some exciting ways for you to get involved with the campaign this year. Children's Mental Health Awareness Week is just a few weeks away, and you can find ways to get involved in your local community. Our events calendar is continuing to be updated with local events in schools and our community organizations. You can visit the link there, or you can take your phone out if you're not using your phone to join us today, and scan that QR code to go straight to our events calendar. And like I said, we're continually updating that with events that are happening across the state, both virtual and in person. So we have lots of organizations that are doing trainings and webinars and things like that, but some really fun events that you could take your kids to or tell families that you're working with about. If you're not already registered for our campaign newsletter, we encourage you to do that. There's also a QR code there where you can register. We will share the link to register for next month's Wellness Social once that is all finalized, which should be done here shortly. But we also, the big ask that we have of you is if you're not registered as a 2023 champion and you are working in a school or a business or a community organization, or just are really passionate about children's mental health and like to make a difference, you can register as a 2023 champion for children's mental health, and we'll send you a digital toolkit, which is full of prompts and activities for you to use. And we just ask that you organize at least one event or activity or participate in some of the ideas or prompts that are provided for you that helps raise awareness or provide education on the importance of mental health in your community during Awareness Week, which is May 7th through the 13th. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at my email, which is tthomas@mhamd.org. And that QR code will take you straight to our registration form to sign up. We'd love to have you join and help participate in Awareness Week this year. We're on lots of social media platforms. Lots will be happening over the next few weeks, lots of activities and information coming your way. So we encourage you to follow us on any platform that you're on. And visit our website for lots of information and resources for yourself or any family members that you are working with. Just some reminders before we pass it over to Marlo to get started. Just keep your microphone muted during the first part of the presentation. We are recording today so that you can rewatch later if there's something that you missed. We will send out the recording and resources for anyone who's registered in just a few days. And after we have our presentation, we'll be having a group Q&A afterwards. So I am going to stop sharing here, and we will pass it over to Marlo to introduce herself, and let's go ahead and Marlo, it is all over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am so glad, and I want to thank Tiffany and Heidi for inviting me and asking me to share in your monthly socials, and especially on this topic, because as I was sharing with Tiffany before everyone came on, this topic is near and dear to me simply because I don't do it well. So anytime I have to prepare the presentation for others, it allows me to remember to take care of myself. And I just want to thank you a little bit. Sorry, a little bit about me. My name is Marlo Lemon. I'm the Director of Training at the Parents Place of Maryland, former teacher. I taught in Baltimore County, in Baltimore City for a little bit. I'm most proud of the fact that I am a mother of 3 and caregiver to seniors now. So I'm definitely feeling a lot of stress, but I'll tell you a little bit more about me. I want to start with just sharing information about, some of you may have heard, I saw some names that I recognize, about the Parents Place of Maryland. We are another resource for parents and families. Our mission is to empower families as advocates. We are not advocates, but hopefully after sessions with us and meeting with our parent educators, parents feel empowered. Parents who have children with disabilities and special healthcare needs. We are committed to diversity and equity, and we work in all 24 systems in Maryland, Baltimore City. We have been around for over 30 years. And so it's always amazing to me when people are like, oh, I didn't even realize everything that you all did. So we don't attend meetings with parents and families, but again, we empower parents and families as they're going through anything special education. I was just on a call about deaf and hard of hearing. So, to connecting parents to resources. What's unique about us is that our board all have young people or children with different abilities and special healthcare needs, and 100% of our team. So when parents and families call us, we can really say, depending upon which stage, we understand what you're going through. We work with birth to 26. And 100% of our team, again, has either children or loved ones with special healthcare needs or different abilities. What do we do? How can we help parents and families as we start talking about alleviating some stress? How can we help parents and families through everything that everyone has going on? We have parent educators that provide one-on-one assistance to families. What could that look like, Marlo? You have an IEP meeting that's coming up, and you're just not sure of the right questions to ask. You're not quite sure, you might have something in there that says, Johnny will purposefully play. Well, in your mind, you might, well, what's purposefully play? What is receptive language? What is expressive language? So it might be terminology within the document that you just don't understand. You can send us the document ahead of time and have a one-on-one conversation with the parent educator about what some of these things are. What does it look like in the classroom? Or let's say, you have been doing this for a while and you're like, you know what? The school system and I are having a hard time coming to an agreement. I need the right wording for a letter. We have sample templates on our website, ppmd.org, that we can, that you can download and change the wording and use it for yourself. We have resource sharing. We partner with other organizations. So to provide parent, my reading glasses may have broken. Is there any way I can get another pair for my child with disability? You're trying to find the right resources in the right areas. We have leadership trainings. Right now, we're finishing up baby leaders. So you have a family, or, your child is newly diagnosed with ADHD, anxiety, autism, traumatic brain injury, whatever it possibly is, a learning disability. We have leadership trainings. I just got the diagnosis. What does that mean? So we have baby leaders, which is birth to 5. And then we have guiding the journey, which starts at 14. I've been in this a while, and now it's time to transition. What does those services look like going from birth to, going from to 21, now that my child's almost an adult? Maryland is also the 8th largest, I think, military state. So we have a large military outreach. So think about now, we're talking about how to alleviate some stress and, you know, what's going on in so many of our families. But just imagine being deployed on top of that, or having both parents deployed, and the grandparents are the ones that's taken care of, and they have to make sure that the IEP is getting followed, the individualized education program of your young person. So we try to provide assistance to parents and families, again, to help understand diagnosis, how to communicate effectively with schools. What are the parents' rights and responsibilities? Because as one coworker says, FAPE is FAPE, free and appropriate public education, whether you live in Allegheny County or Worcester County, or anywhere in between, and how to resolve conflicts and disagreements that you might have. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what we do at the Parents Place of Maryland. So if there's a professional on the call and you know a family could benefit from our services, they can join us. If you are a family on the call, you can give us a call or email, but we just want to be another resource out there. Now, these handsome young people, this is my why. This is why I do what I do. No matter what background I have, places that I've been, people that I've taught, worked at the State Department. This is why I do what I do. These are my children. This was taken in, I think, at least 3 or 4 years ago. So I have a double blessing and little surprise. My twin boys, twin young men, are 18. They just turned 18 in November, and my daughter just turned 17 last week. So I had 3 under 3, 2 in infants and toddlers. The taller of the young men, that's my son Matthew. My son Matthew has autism. He is significantly impacted, nonverbal. I call him my gentle giant at 6 feet tall now. And his brother Joshua has dyslexia and ADD. And they've been in infants and toddlers since they were 17 months. Typical overachieving daughter right now is going through some things with anxiety. So my house is very, very busy. And one thing I want you to always understand, or just think about as we go through the presentation today, is why self-care is important. And I always have to think self-care is not selfish. And I don't know if you can see that. But these are just some objectives I want to go through quickly as we just go through a quick presentation, because I really want to get to your questions and how we can help each other today. So we're going to talk about resources, why it's important, and what it is. But self-care is not selfish. Hopefully, when you look at this picture, you find, or you see, or you think about peace. The negative impacts of burnout spill over into everything that we do, into every area of our life. So having a well cared for mind, body, and spirit make you feel good about yourself and your life. So I know in a lot of presentations, people start with mindfulness and taking a deep breath. So if you would like to do that, please feel free. But, you know, taking care of yourself is not selfish. We often hear, put your mind on first, put your mask on first. And when you put your mask on first, you're able to take care of others. So when you think about self-care, it's something you do for yourself. What do you do for yourself? And a lot of times, I think when self-care first came out, or the concept of self-care first came out, we were thinking, oh, you know, I have to plan this weekend, or where can I find 2 hours? Or sometimes self-care can be going into the bathroom, and, you know, sometimes you might have little fingers under the door, but just taking a minute. You know, I'm going to sit through this whole song, and I'm just going to have a song that I like, and I'm just going to take, because that's all I can give right now. Self-care could be, you know what, I understand my child is getting all the OT or PT speech that they need from others. My child is also in school all day. And you know what? For 30 minutes, if I'm going to let them just veg out on the iPad, that's what they need to do right now. So I can have 30 minutes to get dinner on the table. That might be the self-care I'm taking for myself. So it's activities that you take with the intention of enhancing your energy, restoring your health, and reducing stress. So the benefits far outweigh anything that we can think about. It increases our resiliency. Sometimes, it's a lot going on. And my side story, my sister called this morning and she was like, oh, you sound like I'm up early, but I have not been sleeping well. So my self-care was, I wanted to get some other things done along with this presentation. I said, you know what? I think I went to bed between 9:30 and 10 last night. I never do that. I'm always, unfortunately, up to 12 and maybe wake up about 4. But I needed to do that. I shut it down and I felt better this morning because I was able to just I'm trying to get to 6 hours of sleep, but that's what I intentionally did. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take work upstairs. I'm just going to go to sleep. So there are definitely great benefits to self-care. It increases our mental health. And let's talk a little bit about why we should do self-care. It increases enjoyment, helps us cope with stressful situations. So it was interesting since I used that example. Typically, my daughter has to be to school at one time at the same time every day, but there are occasions when she has labs. And this was one of those lab mornings where she needed to be to school earlier than what I thought. So I think had I not gotten that sleep, I probably would have raised my voice this morning because my other son's bus was late. But you know what? It was a really calm morning. So I feel like just getting that sleep helped with managing what could have been a very stressful morning because, we were already late. So we're not going to crazy drive to try to get you to school. It helps maintain positive connections with others because I felt like I wasn't snappy. We're better equipped to support our children who all ultimately have a lot going on. And we are in the field for the professionals I have on the call. We are in the field where we're helping others. So that can be burnout in and of itself. So we want to be able to improve our resiliency to be able to bounce back from life. We want to, as much as possible, laugh, smile. They always talk about, I know it's a meme or something that they have on social media, it talks about the mouth muscles you're using when you smile versus frowning. Watch a funny movie. Sometimes we have a coworker and she's like, you know what? I binge watch reality shows. So whatever you have to do that's going to improve your resiliency to deal with everything that we have going on. Someone else stops watching the news. You know what? I can find out or limits their news watching because you can watch the news and it can bring down your mood. These are other suggestions: counting your blessings, learn how to breathe deeply. That is also a proven, research proven that help for heart health. Just taking deep breaths, thinking positively, being aware of your thoughts and behaviors, and the free way you use to enhance them, because we want to, try to be as optimistic as possible to help get through everything that we have to get through. So the next slide, we're going to talk about some just questions to reflect on for mindfulness. You'll hear they have the Calm app, and I wouldn't recommend paying for any apps, but they have, unless you really, really like it, but they have the Calm apps and different apps that are like that. Music now, white noise, just some things, eye masks, different things that they have. But when you think about mindfulness, how are you framing your mind, thinking about things, in a positive light, especially things that are beyond our control? The van was late. I can't leave, but the bus was late this morning. So it's either I can put myself in a tizzy and get really upset, or you know what, we just had to wait. And what are we doing in that time? And I know that's hard when you have meetings, when you have timelines and deadlines and people waiting on you, but some things are out of our control. So being aware of your thoughts and behaviors, because only you can control that. So in the morning, it could be, I know some people start their day off with prayer, positive affirmations. There are so many different apps and videos and things that you can just even watch on YouTube to, you know what, start the day off right. So in the morning, what is one goal I hope to accomplish today? So even though I have a lot of different presentations coming up, my focus was on, you know what, today, deep breathing in and out around lunchtime. How will I nourish my body? How will I move? Since COVID, a lot of us are sitting, so much so during the day. On a nice day out, you look at the weather and it's like, you know, it's going to rain the next 3 days. Can I take 5 minutes and just walk around the neighborhood if it's nice, get up from my desk, talk to someone else. And then what am I going to do at dinner time? What is one success that I had today? And it could be that you're writing things on the things to do list as you're crossing them off, but you were able to get stuff done. Everyone has their different coping mechanisms. Some people really feel good when they're like, you know what? I got my emails down from 1,000 to 500 today. And whatever it is that lifts your spirit, then that's what you should try to do. Try to carve out some time to lift yourself up. Because again, if we don't take care of ourselves, you have to put your mask on first in order to take care of others. Because when we're down and out and agitated, not a lot of sleep, we have a hard time helping others. And then at bedtime, what are 3 things I'm thankful for today? They really say having that gratitude right before bed does make for a good night's sleep. So what are the 3 things I'm thankful for? And I know some days are really, really difficult. It's difficult at work. And I think when we're processing things, it could be, you know, work. I used to always say, I have 3 of you. All 3 of you can't be acting up at the same time. Well, as much as I said it, there are days when all 3 of them did. There are days when I'm like, you know what? PPMD is not getting 100% employee today. But what are the things I'm thankful for? What are the things that I accomplished? So turning things around. So I'm going to stop sharing in 1 second and then come back and share, because I like to see people's faces, but I want you to think about what are the activities that help you refuel. So what are some things I've mentioned some, but I'm going to hear from you. What are the activities that help you refuel and bring you peace, comfort, and energy needed to be your best self? So I want to hear from you, and then I'm going to come back and have a couple of about 5 or 6 slides, no, 3 or 4 slides that are some suggestions for you. But what are some activities that help you refuel, that bring you peace? Because what does it for me might not do it for you. I'm not a coffee drinker, but for some people it might be, you know what, I just need to go into Starbucks, sit for 5 minutes and drink my coffee, or to have that quiet time. So I'm going to stop sharing and then I'll reshare. But think about, for everyone that's on the call, what are some activities that help to refuel you or bring you peace, comfort, and energy?
Coffee.
You can unmute yourself, or someone said coffee. Oh, thank you for putting in the chat.
I said
Thank
coffee.
you.
You know, I know this is kind of like crazy, but because a lot of times things get so scattered and that stresses me out, making my to-do list and really prioritizing and straightening that out also helps me focus, and it makes me feel 1,000 times better.
I agree. As I sit here now I'm trying to combine my to-do list, because it's whatever I'm writing on small paper, even down to a market list. Like I'm like, oh, but I put right market lists on the list of things to do. So thank you, Heidi. And in the chat, I'm seeing walking for 30 minutes in the morning. I have to get better with physical activity, relaxing and taking time for myself, prayer, reading a book for leisure, walking and being outside, embroidery projects and watercoloring. I have a friend who's such an artist, and that is definitely where she goes to. Grocery pickup. Oh, okay. Yes. To relieve stress. Thank you. Anything else?
Free pickup without the children.
And I know before I share again, sometimes we carry guilt of if you have multiple children and, you know, one might have a greater need than another. And you sometimes feel like you have to, and Tiffany, when you said without the children, that's what made me think about this. Sometimes you're like, oh, I really, for example, my Matthew takes up a lot of family energy. My son with autism, he just does. We could sit down to play a game of Uno and I hear him run in the water or just trying to get into something. So I feel guilty with my other two, more so when they were younger. As teenagers now, I won't say they want to spend time with me, but when they were younger and we wanted to do stuff together, I would always feel guilty, like, oh, I need time. Sometimes it could just be, you know what, Joshua, come on, go to the store with me. We're going to have mommy and son time. So I'm getting something accomplished, but I'm also spending time with one-on-one time with that child. A lot of times our families feel like, sometimes they might feel like they have to have all this time. Like a self-care day is a whole day, or I have to plan to go to the spa. No, it's what can you do within a certain amount of time to give that energy and time back to yourself. So if it's multiple children and then you start feeling guilty about it and then you get anxiety because of the other two are not getting what this one needs, then you know what? Take one with you. Or if you have to get go to get your nails done, you know, whatever it is that brings you more energy. I want you to think about it. Anyone else before I share some other ideas? I love now the getting outside. And we want to be our best self. And what we do know from research and everyone else, that we can't be our best selves if we don't take care of ourselves. So just to get some rest, whatever that looks like to you. Naps, going to bed early, getting 30 minutes, getting the carpool line early, or the school parking lot where you can just close your eyes for a couple of minutes. Exercise, which I need to get a lot better with, but exercise, whatever that means to you. Some people like classes, some people don't. It could just be walking. Yoga practice, which again, deep breathing is great for the heart. Reading or listening to a book. Relax, deep breathing, watching your favorite TV show. There are so many different streaming outlets now. TV show, watching a game show network, watching a home improvement show. Prayer and meditation is always really good for self-care ideas. Taking a warm bath or shower, lighting candles, writing in a journal, coloring. They have a lot of adult coloring books, painting, lighting a candle, sitting in silence. I remember one day calling my mom and I was like, Mom, listen. And so she thought something was wrong and she was like, what? I don't hear anything. I said, I know. My husband had taken them out. I was like, I'm just in the house by myself. It's great. And he just took them to the store. But in that moment, it was nice for me to have silence in my house because it's something I never get. So what are some other things based on that list? Is there anything else that you can think of that you can do just for that self-care? I love this visual and just the thought of filling your own cup up first. And again, it is not selfish to do that, to fill your own cup up first. The world will get the benefit of the overflow. And again, it could be something like sleep and how much better you feel with sleep. And we know we can't, all the time, but try to carve out 5 minutes of your day. Because, when you have 3 little ones and so many different appointments and children with different healthcare needs, it is very difficult. I also want to say that wasn't on this, find your village. Find your people that you can connect with, people that you can talk to, that understand. I love my children to pieces, would do anything for them. But early on during Matthew's journey, when my schedule was all about services for him and getting everywhere where they needed to be, I remember calling a good friend and was like, you know what? I don't like them. And it wasn't any judgment. She understood, like, you love your children to pieces, but right now you are really, really worn down. And that friend and I still might go out for tea, go for a walk, just to be able to support each other. So having a network, and if you're like, I'm here, I don't have any family here. I know so many different organizations, even at Parents Place, we also have coffee and conversations, or, this virtual world that we now live in, but connecting to other parents and families sometimes can be the best resource. And remember to breathe. And, it might sound something that be so trivial, but to take that deep calming breath, and it's like from your feet all the way up to the shoulders, you're relaxing them. Sometimes it's like, oof, but just take a deep breath and try to remember to breathe, because we need it. Every breath is important, and smile. I did not have a long presentation, but I wanted to, and I will send Tiffany this. You can, if you want now, to again, use a QR code to do the quick evaluation for today, but I'll also send it to Tiffany and she could send it out to participants. But I also want to give you, these are our things. I want to give you, that's my contact information, with Marlo at ppmd.org. Our website is the Parents Place of Maryland. We also have a video. If I know this one is being recorded, I think we also have a video on self-care that goes through different things. We have a YouTube channel. It's on our YouTube channel. You can share it with parents and families. If you go to our website and you at the top search self-care, we have a self-care pamphlet that is really, really handy. And pull it up from that we got from Kennedy Krieger. So that they had it was a self-care workshop and some tips there. Are there any additional questions, thoughts? Look at the chat. Going shopping, yes. Need it, absolutely.
I have a question. Does anyone who was on this call have kids at home that they practice self-care with, teach them self-care practices or skills with? I'm just curious.
That is a great question.
What is that? If you do, what's that modeling look like?
I was going to say that modeling is really important, and I probably have failed miserably at that.
No, my daughter, I wanted to do yoga with her. She's like, Mommy, it's not for her, but I tried to. We did, we had the Peloton app. We don't have a bike or anything, but they had the app. So we got the Peloton, and I was like, oh, Victoria, they have, let's do. She didn't like the silence of it. She was like, after a while, she didn't like that. But we will walk. We will walk together. So that would, I guess, be the one self-care thing that we do. Her and I also, when we have time, I bought a like the foot massager. So for Matthew, he enjoys the bubbles in the water that, but that's something that we can do that's like self-care for him. He's not stimming, he's like sitting in one spot. So he does enjoy that. I'm curious, does the Parents Place also provide services for? Yes, all parents and families. Yes, it doesn't matter if it's foster legal guardian, because we have in our website, again, we have sample letters that you can use, anything IEP related. Fortunately, we just hired a new bilingual parent educator, so we can help our Spanish speaking families. And if you want to provide our website at the top, it was just redone. So at the top, I believe it has the language. You can select what language you want the information in. You're welcome.
Suzanne, here's the website link again, and it's the contact page. So the phone number's there if you want to give them a call or just spend some time exploring their website for what they have available.
And then on the right, you can contact us for parent educator. And on the right, you can sign up for our newsletters. And we also have bilingual. We have bilingual newsletters every 3 months and a monthly English newsletter.
Yeah, I think that modeling is really important, especially, I mean, for all kids. I mean, and for all of us, but I think it's just especially important for kids who are struggling, you know, and the earlier that we start to model self-care for kids, the better, because they can start to use these skills throughout their life. You know, and I certainly do it with my son who struggles a lot, you know, and he not always will go to those skills, but just reminding him that they're available in his toolbox and that he can grab them, you know, whether it's going out for a bike ride. That's one of his favorite ways to practice self-care, or go for a walk, or reading. He loves to read, you know, or going and yelling into his pillow, you know, like sometimes that works for him too, you know, so whatever works for your kid. But if we model that for our kids, they're going to see that. They're going to see us using positive skills instead of negative skills. But it's okay too for them to see all of it. So it's part of the learning process.
Yes. And even when we don't think that they are watching, they are. Oh. My first thought, Ms. Carol, when I look at the question, is working with the school system. Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it getting bullied? And you don't have to, okay. So then that's getting the pupil personnel. And I did that because I shared with Tiffany in the beginning that even though both of my young men have individualized education plans, it's my girl that is, I feel like, more challenging because of all of that, you know, the anxiety, social media. So my question, I guess we can start thinking about the pupil personnel worker or the social worker at the school. We can start thinking about a different class. If the school is what the trigger is, can she go to a different school? Would that help? So I'm just trying to, in not knowing your situation, I'm just trying to think of, yep. Now, school is a trigger. Thank you for you're welcome. But yeah, my you know, it could be that, but I don't know. Then the school doesn't necessarily make it easy because I don't know what a transfer will look like. But if she is refusing to go to school now, and with bullying, yeah, it's tough. Is the school working with you to possibly have her attend another school? And then what about doing, and I know it's so difficult, a social media detox? Like, you know what, we're for 3 or 4 days. And sometimes it requires you doing it with them. Like I will get on Facebook. Sometimes it requires, okay, well, you know what, for 3 days, or, you know, blocking. What I have shared with my daughter is, you know, don't be on someone else's page. If seeing who they're posting and they're hanging out with their friends, and it seems like everybody has the best lives online, But I'm like, if that is stressing you out, if you feel like you don't have any friends and everybody else is doing all these things, then don't look at it. You know, you can remove yourself, set the phone where they can't get comments. So even if they post something, even if they post something, people can't respond to what they post. They were not, but they had just started. Getting that maybe now. I took a phone away because it was terrible. Yeah. So you're doing the right thing, Mom. You know, give yourself permission to also take care of yourself in this. Have her build her up, have her try to see that it's nothing wrong with social media. It's as much as you're on it. It's, you know, all the TikTok, everything that's on social media is not necessarily real. You know, having that clean shade. I started sending my daughter different positive quotes every day. Is she one that might do affirmation? I don't know if she reads them every day, because sometimes she's like, Mommy, that's too long. But, you know, I tried to, again, send her something that will build her up, keeping the lines of communication open. As frustrating as it can be with teenage young ladies, one of my friends who has 3 grown daughters gave me the best advice, and I remember it when I want to just say something, but you want to protect the relationship at all costs. You want to protect the relationship with your daughter. Like, she's not going to be 13 forever. The same issues with one of the kids in the program. It is that CBS just did a special. It's COVID, between COVID and social media, I think it's really been detrimental for some of our, particularly girls. Physical activity, I know, is what helps a lot. So going on those walks, and, you know, you all doing it together, giving them an outlet. What is it painting? Is it an activity? Is it helping and serving others? By doing volunteer opportunities, but as much as they can to be up moving in activities where they can be away from the phone as much as possible, and just being uplifting themselves. Carol, I wish you much success. I'm glad now you're working with, because, you know, an IEP can also be used for social emotional. It might, you know, be hard to track. And I would also, I mentioned the social worker and pupil personnel worker, depending upon what school system you're in. Also lean in on the guidance counselor at the school. You know, do you all have social skills groups where you're talking about these things? You know, what's being done about bullying?
I was going to say the same thing, Marlo. Try to get to leverage that person, because it sounds like there needs to be education to the entire population. If it's, because chances are it's not just your kid or my kid. It's everybody's. So I believe all parents would probably agree that kids need more education on that.
And celebrate that your daughter is talking to you, because she might have a classmate that's feeling the same way she is. But is not saying it, or not, you know, you're aware enough as a mom to see the signs, and you're like, you know what, let me figure this out. Thank you. Tiffany also put some resources in the chat. Are there any other questions, comments, things you might want me to address? By you being connected already, then you know the mental health resources are out there. And it's different, so different from when I was coming up, but so needed based on all of the information that our children are hearing and seeing every day. When you look at the state of the world and shootings, and just if someone said that they were homeless, just the things that they have to see in and of itself can cause young people to go into crises. So we have to think, what can we do and how can we model for them that we have to take care of ourselves, our body. Your body is important, and you want to be able to exercise for that physical, because it's physical, emotional, mental, all of that. How are we taking care of the whole body?
Well, thank you, Marlo, for being here today. And thank you, everyone, for your questions and support. If anyone has questions after today's training, they certainly can reach out to the Parents Place for additional resources. We will send out that information in email to all of you. Feel free to check out the Children's Mental Health Maryland's website for resources as well. We'll send all this in a follow-up email for you, and you can take a look at the recording for the resources available. But that's all we have for today. So thank you for your time. And we hope that you'll register for the newsletter and join us next month for next month's social. So thanks so much for being here. Have a great day.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.